Now, I know we talk about media double standards a lot on this show, but have I got a doozy for you this week? First, let's go back to 2020, even if it feels like ancient history, and recall the effort to impeach Donald Trump for a bunch of high crimes and misdemeanors ultimately related to the left's bogus Russian collusion narrative. If you will recall, a big part of the effort centered around a phone call Trump had with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. Back then, the accusation was that Trump pushed Ukraine to look into allegations that then-presidential candidate had used threats of withholding aid to get them to fire a particular prosecutor, a prosecutor who was looking into the question of whether and why a local natural gas company in the Ukraine had paid Joe's son Hunter, whose expertise is less hydraulic fracks than smoking crack, hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees. The allegation that Trump had pressured a foreign leader to do something to make his political opponent look bad was front-page news on the New York Times and around the world.
We just have to come back to the July call. It was a July call between the president and the president of Ukraine in which these investigations came up. August was the way that it started to move forward. They were talking about locking the Ukrainians in publicly to doing this. Just saying it to the president in a phone call was not enough. The U.S. wanted them to commit to it on the record. That's what the president wanted. He wanted these investigations. He used his State Department to do it.
I then heard President Trump's ask, so he's going to do the investigation. Ambassador Sondland replied that he's going to do it, adding that President Zelensky will do, quote, anything you ask him to.
President Trump goes on to say, I would like to have the Attorney General call you or your people, and I would like you to get to the bottom of it. Zelensky responds by saying, we're open to any future cooperation. He doesn't say no to Trump's request for this favor.
And as you can see, CNN, MSNBC, all the commercial networks went bonkers, parsing every word of the transcript, beaming it into our homes in a last-ditch attempt to remove President Trump. Of course, the effort failed. But having set the precedent that phone calls where the U.S. president horse trades with foreign leaders are now grounds for investigation, if not removal, the media has decided to change its tune now that Joe Biden is in office. This week, it was revealed that as Afghanistan was collapsing, Joe Biden had a phone call with the soon-to-skedaddle Afghan President Ashraf Ghani to urge him to do something to fight the Taliban, not to save Afghanistan because that was already a lost cause, but to stop the narrative from looking bad for Biden. Here's what Biden told Ghani. He said, quote, I need not tell you the perception around the world and in parts of Afghanistan, I believe, is that things are not going well in terms of the fight against the Taliban, Biden told Ghani. Quote, he continued, and there is a need, whether it is true or not, there is a need, Biden said, to project a different picture. Now, crucially, Biden also said that if Ghani could do this and project this different picture, he would do everything he could to get Afghanistan all the aid he could. The political motivation was clear. Biden needed cover to make things look good through his own idiotically self-imposed August 31st deadline for withdrawal, so that on September 11th, he could take credit for ending the so-called forever war, which was started 20 years previously. Of course, this was a bit different to what the official White House readout of the call said. Was discussed after the call. The White House only said that at the time the two leaders, quote, discussed the situation in Afghanistan and reaffirmed their commitment to an enduring bilateral partnership. Yeah, right. Anyway, it's fascinating to look at. Obviously, every president horse trades with every other prince and potentate on the planet. But the double standards are clear. When Donald Trump did it, it was considered completely illegitimate by the media because they considered Trump an illegitimate president. But now that the press has got Joe Biden, it's a very different story. Even if walk-away Joe doesn't always show them the same love back. I mean, what? You were expecting some sort of consistency depending on who was in the White House? Come on, man!